Back to our top story now tonight. Former President Trump now facing nearly 36 federal counts connected to the alleged mishandling of more than 100 classified documents at his Florida home. Remember, this matters not just because he now becomes the first former president to face federal charges, but because he's also the 2024 Republican frontrunner. He's got a shot at winning the White House in just about 18 months. And if that happens, one of the powers he'd get back is the ability to pardon somebody. So does that include himself? Here's the breakdown. It's a question that's never been asked before because it hasn't happened before. Can a president pardon themselves for their own crimes? Former President Trump thought so back in 2018, talking about allegations he colluded with Russia.
I do have an absolute right to pardon myself, but I'll never have to do it because I didn't do anything wrong. And everybody knows it.
But experts say the potential for a self-pardon is not so clear.
A lot's left open to interpretation.
We just have to wait and see.
We'd have to litigate it, and we'd have to see.
Here's why it's such a complicated question. The Constitution does not specifically get into whether it's allowed, saying only the president shall have power to grant pardons except in cases of impeachment. That's it. Nothing on self-pardons. The Justice Department tried to clear things up back in 1974, right before Richard Nixon got impeached. In a memo, the DOJ determined basically, no, a president cannot self-pardon because no one can be a judge in their own case.
Just like we don't let people be the prosecutor or the judge or the jury in their own case, the argument goes, you can't be the pardoner in your own case.
Since then, that legal opinion has never been tested until maybe now. If Mr. Trump were to win the White House in 2024, he could try to pardon himself on those new federal charges within minutes of inauguration. But experts say it would very likely go to the Supreme Court to decide whether that self-pardon would hold. And remember, it's a court that has a conservative majority because of the nominations of Mr. Trump himself.
And the court that we have right now is one that I think is very receptive to the prospect of broad presidential power.
Keep in mind, these new federal charges are not the only legal issues faced by Mr. Trump. He's been charged in New York related to hush money payments and has pleaded not guilty. But those are state-level crimes. So a presidential pardon's off the table there.
The clause in the Constitution limits a president's pardon powers to offenses against the United States, commonly understood to mean federal offenses.
Down in Georgia, Mr. Trump also faces an investigation built around his 2020 election fraud lies. He denies any wrongdoing there, but the potential to pardon himself would depend on the specific charges the district attorney might bring and whether they were to involve multiple states or jurisdictions, say Georgia along with D.C. Again, it's that federal versus state difference.
Once it becomes federal, then there is that possibility of a presidential pardon. So that's a reason to keep things in state court if you're the state prosecutor.
So bottom line, could Mr. Trump pardon himself on at least some counts if he ends up in the White House? He could try, but whether it sticks will almost certainly depend on what the Supreme Court says. Of course, if he doesn't win, whoever is in the White House could simply pardon Mr. Trump themselves on those federal charges. At least one current competitor suggesting they're open to it.
Would you look at potentially pardoning Trump himself based on the evidence that might emerge of those charges?
The DOJ and FBI have been weaponized. Any example of disfavored treatment based on politics or weaponization would be included in that review, no matter how small or how big.
So keep in mind that if Donald Trump, again, there's a lot of hypotheticals here, if he makes it to the White House, if he were to try to issue a self-pardon, it wouldn't automatically go to the Supreme Court. There has to be some kind of a trigger, some kind of a challenge, essentially, in order for that to happen. Who would have standing over that, how that would unfold, again, still remains to be seen.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.